Star Wars fans, we need to talk, because I've just discovered a terrible truth about the Ahsoka show. According to some newly discovered leaks, Marrok will not be Starkiller. Not only that, but who or what Marrok actually is it's kind of disappointing. But it's not all doom and gloom, because thanks to this new leak, we also know a ton of new stuff about Anakin and some crazy stuff that's going to be happening in the back half of the show, which has me really excited. So allow me to begin by saying, yes, I did overhype Marrok as Starkiller, and I will hold the L on that one. I think there is evidence to suggest that he is Starkiller. I also think it would have been freaking amazing. So yes, I got a little overhyped, but I think when you understand the truth of what's going on with Marrok, you're going to have to admit that what Lucasfilm is doing is way worse than what I'm doing by getting overhyped and excited about a theory. Also, let's take this with a grain of salt. We don't know if this is 100% real, but let's talk about the leak. The leak is that Marrok, underneath that mask, is not Starkiller. He's not Ezra. He's actually nobody.
You have no place in this story. You come from nothing. You're nothing.
And no, I'm not talking about like a nobody as in some random person. No, I mean like literally nobody. Like there's nothing underneath the mask. Marrok, according to this new rumor, is going to be made of smoke. When I first heard that, I thought I misheard it. I was like, wait, Snoke? What? That would be absolutely insane. But no, it's smoke with an M, like a thing that comes off of something that's burning. Smoke. So basically what happened was I was tipped off by somebody that I trust as to the true identity of Marrok, and it's so crazy to me because they asked me, like, do you want to know who Marrok is? And I mean, what would you do? What would you do, chat? Would you be like, nah, I'm good, I think I know it's Starkiller? Or would you be like, okay, tell me? So anyways, they pointed out to me that this has already been talked about on Reddit, and the fact of the matter is, according to this Redditor, who, by the way, got a lot of stuff right for the 3rd episode of Ahsoka, like before it came out, that's important, but we'll talk about that in a second. According to the leak, what they're doing with Marrok is very similar to what they did with the Inquisitor from the Tales of the Jedi animated series. You'll recall that in that final episode with Ahsoka cuts down the Inquisitor, and then the mask falls off and sort of deflates like air coming out of a balloon. So apparently they're going to do that with Marrok, and the explanation is that Marrok is somehow magically created. This is older Inquisitor armor, which is maybe why it's got all the rust and the degradation. And maybe this is a spirit of a past Inquisitor or some Jedi, but either way, I believe it's going to be explained that Elsbeth, this witch character, literally inflates that armor with some kind of spiritual smoke, and there's really nobody there. It's like some undead servant to her. And the crazy thing is, we all thought the voice of Marrok in episode 3 sounded a lot like Starkiller from that DLC in the Force Unleashed video games where you actually become a full-on Sith Lord. And while I still think it sounds very similar, if you go back and listen to the voice of the Inquisitor from Tales of the Jedi, that voice sounds way more like Marrok. It's like they were putting it right in front of our face.
At last, son of Vader.
Nothing. And who might you be?
Now again, I will take the L on getting overhyped, but Disney is making multiple figures of this guy. I think there's at least 3 different versions of the figure for this character. They're doing big character posters for this character. And I just ask you, like, seriously, let me know in chat, what is more ridiculous? Me as a Star Wars fan and YouTuber getting excited about the possibility of this being Starkiller, pulling together all the evidence and getting very hyped up because I think it could be Starkiller. Like, is that more ridiculous than Disney creating a character that's made of smoke that's probably just gonna die off in episode 4, and then marketing the character with several different figures and a lot of like posters and love? Because I kind of think it's worse that they made all these figures of a character that's nobody. Like literally he's made of smoke. Like what is that? Oh, and yeah, by the way, I do think this Marrok character is probably just gonna die in the next episode. Somebody told me that, separate person here, but yes, I have been told that this character is essentially a nobody that will will get cut down in episode 4. And it kind of makes sense. If you look at what's in the trailers, it seems like the final fight between Ahsoka and Baylan is going to be at that area in the map. But when she's fighting Marrok, it seems like it's in the forest. So I think Marrok will be defeated in the forest. It'll be really spooky and crazy, right? Because, like, look, I'm super let down. I think this is really weird. But I've kind of come around to this idea of it being a really interesting way for us to get introduced to the spooky, magic, weirdness of, like, the Morgan Elsbeth character, the witches, the Night Sisters, and anything that's in that other galaxy. Like, this could end up being cool. I still think it was done in a really weird way, and I think it's going to end up being very disappointing to a lot of fans. But as I said at the beginning of this video, it's not all doom and gloom. There's actually some really cool stuff that's been revealed as well, because once we realized that this user was accurate, the internet detectives figured out every single thing this person has ever said about Ahsoka, and they've said a lot. For instance, the account has said that Anakin will be in episodes 5, 7, and 8. And they say, like many others say, that episode 5 is going to be truly incredible. Like one of the coolest episodes ever done in Star Wars. And we think, you know, due to the leaks, and of course, spoiler warning, but this whole thing is spoilers and leaks. So like, what are you doing here if you don't want spoilers? But this will be the episode with the world between worlds. It will have to do with Ahsoka seeing different realities, understanding that she couldn't have stopped Anakin from turning, understanding that she would have been what Kenobi was on Mustafar and likely wounded Anakin, but left him there. She wouldn't have been able to kill him. He would have turned, become Vader. So despite any decisions she would have made, Anakin was going to turn to the dark side. That was sort of written in the cosmic force. So episode 5 is going to be amazing, but I find it really interesting that Anakin's also going to be in episode 7 and 8. And this account actually goes further to explain the context for Anakin in those back half episodes. So apparently in episode 7, he's going to be in a hologram. So we're going to see some kind of hologram of Anakin. Maybe it's something from his history with Thrawn. Maybe it's a message that he recorded for Ahsoka. I don't really know for sure, but apparently that will be a holographic one. And then this is kind of super big spoilers, but it's something we all saw coming. In the 8th episode, Anakin is apparently going to be a Force ghost. So he's going to be a Force ghost sort of smiling and waving, and I think that will be some kind of closure for Ahsoka and a big, big deal for the fandom. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're going to have a conversation. The leaker's basically just saying that he smiles and waves. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. We're going to have to judge it for ourselves when we see it. But either way, that's super cool. Getting Anakin in 3 different episodes and having him actually be a Force ghost in episode 8, I think is going to be very meaningful for the Ahsoka character and for Star Wars fans overall. Now, another thing that's in the leaks that I find really interesting is this idea of Ahsoka having some kind of near-death experience. So it's possible this is connected to drowning, something to do with the Purgle or this planet, or perhaps she's defeated by Baylan and thrown into the water. I'm not really sure, but this might be the catalyst for Ahsoka having these visions, going back to the world between worlds. I'm not really sure. It's really, really interesting. And I think we'll have the answers to that soon. Like, Episode 4 is right around the corner, a couple of days from when you watch this video, probably. And so we're going to see that. And so it's very likely that it'll end in a way where you're like, oh no, like Ahsoka, is she dead? Is she, what's going on? And this is likely to sort of go into episode 5 with the world between worlds stuff. I think Ahsoka, the White, may actually happen in this show. And it's possible she's literally going to come back from death. She's going to go into some realm in a near-death experience, but come back. I don't know, kind of some Gandalf type stuff. Dave's getting real weird with his Star Wars, and I'm kind of here for it. Now, another thing that's really interesting, and it keeps us like percolating in my mind, it's like so interesting to me, is apparently C-3PO will be in episode 7. And I wonder, is that connected to the Anakin hologram? But also, how could C-3PO been in episode 7 if they're still in this other galaxy? That seems very unlikely. So it almost seems like we might not be spending a lot of time in this other galaxy, which is kind of a bummer for me. Like, I love this idea of like a new horizon, a new area. So I would like to actually stay there for the duration of the show, but apparently that's not going to be the way that it is. It's also possible, by the way, that, you know, maybe Ahsoka and them don't actually get to that galaxy till the later episodes. I'm not really sure. Like, that's a possibility I thought of as well. And the other thing is, like, so where is C-3PO right now? I would assume he's with Leia. So are they going to have Leia pop up in episode 7? Is there going to be some kind of closure via Leia and a message that Anakin recorded for a hologram with Ahsoka? I'm not really sure. It's just really intriguing, and I'm excited to see where all of that goes. But C-3PO in episode 7, that's kind of cool. And then the other thing that is maybe kind of a bummer for some of y'all is apparently there's no Zeb and there's no Luke Skywalker. So, you know, a lot of us wanted Luke Skywalker. Some of us wanted Luke Ahsoka. But regardless, kind of a bummer because Zeb was so cool in Mando 3, and I feel like we barely get any time with him. The model looks great, the animation looks great. Maybe it's just too expensive. I don't know. So no Zeb, no Luke Skywalker. Okay, so from where we're at again, I feel like the Marrok twist is lame. Like, there's just no way around it for me. I think it's lame, but I'm also going to have to see how it's actually done in the show. And I think Dave is just trying to set up that things are not what they seem, that there's this spooky darkness, this really evil magic going on in the show. And that's kind of cool, right? I'm excited to find out. Maybe this is even a way for like Balin and Shin to be like, yo, like we don't want anything to do with Morgan. I don't know. So we'll have to judge it. I think the Anakin stuff sounds absolutely incredible. I worry slightly that they're waiting for episode 5 to do the dope, you know, crazy Anakin stuff. And I think there's a possibility that a lot of fans are going to give up on the show before then because, you know, like, let's be real, Ahsoka's a little bit more for the hardcore fans. It's a little bit slower. And if you don't get all these references and things, maybe you're not as into it. So I worry a little bit about that. But I think episode 5 will absolutely destroy the internet. It's going to break the internet. It's going to be massive for Star Wars, and hopefully it'll be dope enough to get a lot of people to check out Ahsoka and be very much into the story, because I think the juice is coming in the back half. The back half of the season is going to be crazy. Let me know what you think about these leaks in the comment section below. Try to keep these off the internet. I did a horrible job on Friday. I tweeted about it. I teased it all over. I was like in shock. I was frankly shook, right? I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to try to do better. Let's keep the spoilers to the spoiler videos. Let's try not to ruin this for other people. And let's just see what happens, because take it all with a grain of salt. We just really don't know. And by the way, guys, my comic book Unity is on Kickstarter right now, and the campaign's doing great, but we are not funded yet, so I need your support. If you're interested at all in a big old comic book that I've been working on for years, go check out the Unity Kickstarter. You can ask me questions in the comment section if you're interested in the book. We're adding a bunch of cool items this week as well, so go check that out, and I appreciate all the support we've already gotten. Smash a like on the video if you liked it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you want to ask me anything about what we talked about in this video or just anything nerdy in general, come on by the live streaming channel. We stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.